Got a little bit of rain yesterday, and we might see a little bit more because even though we have a high pressure system that will be making its way in, you can see there a little bit of disturbance still is trying to stick around. Now, we did have a rogue shower make its way through, not closer to Twin Ports, went right through Cloquet not too long ago, but outside of that, it has mostly dissipated, and we're not seeing too much right now. But we can see some more later on. Once we get into the afternoon, some isolated showers, maybe a thunderstorm will be possible before we start to see more of the sunshine as we get later into the afternoon, into the evening. By the time we start to get into our Wednesday, we're going to definitely see quite a bit more of that sunshine thanks to that high pressure system. And when it comes to the temperatures, well, we're going to be getting into the 70s today for a lot of us, maybe even the low 80s, especially the further southwest you are. And so we are going to feel those warmer temperatures, especially compared to the last few days, which have been on the cooler side. And as we go into Wednesday, similar story. Once again, 70s, low 80s possible. But as we pull this forward even further, Thursday is where we're actually going to see those really summer-like conditions come back, because we're going to be into the low 80s for those highs for a good number of us, which usually is probably around seasonal, a few weeks ago, especially in July, but we're getting towards the tail end of summer, so these are actually a little bit warmer temperatures than what we expect this time of year. And luckily, we're going to have lower dew points, so it's not going to make it feel as warm as it could have been, but you'll notice, even though we're going to dip with the dew points, they're going to rise back up as we head late Thursday going early Friday. And this is because we're going to see some more rain make its way on in. We're going to have a cold front, and it's going to bring some showers and some storms through, and there is a little bit of severe threat, especially the further northwest you are for Thursday going to Friday, where we can see some large hail and maybe some damaging winds with any storms we do see. And the system that's going to be bringing all this rain is going to be off in Canada, and that's the cold front that is going to allow these storms and showers to initiate on through. But as the system continues moving off to the east, we continue to see the backside of the system, and that's going to bring some showers going into the weekend, specifically in northern Minnesota, where we do have a little bit of a higher probability of some rain. So for a lot of us, it's going to dry off going into the weekend, but we can see some showers stick around. And now I'm going to be looking at here is the temperatures, and what we're actually going to start with is what we call geopotential heights. When you see these red and oranges, that's higher geopotential heights. When you start getting up to the greens and to the blues, that's lower geopotential heights. And how this correlates to the temperature as well, as you might know, warm things like to expand, warm air likes to expand, cold air likes to contract. So when you have higher heights, that means there's probably warmer air underneath it. Lower heights mean there's cooler air. So that's the ridge that's going to bring some of the warmer temperatures associated with it in the middle of the week. Now we're going to have this trough. You see, now we have those lower heights associated with cooler air. That's going to be over the Northland. And you can see it, because after the warmer we're going to have, look at that roller coaster dive right on down into the weekend. Highs back into the 60s for many of us by the time we get into the weekend. And it looks like that cooler air is going to be sticking around, not just for here in the Northland, but for a good portion of the country. So it looks like, and we can see here on our 7-day forecast, some cool air is going to be sticking around as we get later on. But until then, we're going to be seeing sunnier conditions as we get into the middle of the week, as well as warmer temperatures.